from the Daily Mail, and Matthew Stadland, political commentator and journalist. Matthew, let's just thanks so much for being with us. Haven't got loads of time, so let's focus in, as we've been doing for the past few minutes, on those British citizens living abroad. The advice now from the Foreign Office is to register if you are in one of those Gulf states that is the subject to these strikes. What sense of the paper's got of what's happening to those guys?
Front page of the Sunday Mirror, Brits told to find shelters, revenge strikes rock the region. I'm looking at the front page of the Star, Brits, Dubai, missile terror. And this is very close to home for so many of us, because there are 240,000 Brits, I think we're told, living in Dubai. I've got a very good friend who's living in Dubai whose building was rocked yesterday by the missile strike or strikes. And so this is a moment of real concern for Brits living in the Middle East and also for friends and families back home. Yeah,
plenty of people go travelling to the Middle East as well. And bringing in the Brit angle a bit further as well, what do you make of the Prime Minister's response to this extraordinary wave of action by the US and Israel?
I mean, I think he's towing a sort of tightrope at the moment, because obviously he's being squeezed from both sides of the political spectrum. He's got on the left side, he's got the Greens and your party saying that this is illegal and that we should condemn what the US has done. On the other side, you've got Conservatives and Reform coming out and saying we stand by the US and they've done the right thing because Iran can't ever have nuclear weapons. So he's clearly trying to balance the books in that sense. And right now we're in a pretty complicated situation, because we also know conversations have been going on between Starmer and Donald Trump. They had a phone conversation last night where we didn't get much out of that, over what happened. But Trump is clearly annoyed at Starmer because he didn't allow him to launch the preemptive strikes from the US bases that we have. I think that was the right decision at the time, because ultimately that would have put the UK in a much more complicated situation as this sort of war progresses.
Interesting legal questions on this, of course, because even if the government's position is that it could have been illegal to get involved in preemptive strikes against Iran, what happens now that Iran has sent missiles into the Middle East and against American targets, when America is a NATO ally of us, a huge ally of the United Kingdom? Do we then feel we are entitled to go in? As you said, there are plenty of people on the right of British politics who think we should already have been involved.
Yeah, well, that's a justification given by Rishi Sunak back in April 2024, when he helped defend Israel from those Iranian missiles, and it was doing it in the British interest. That's the defence he gave us to make it legal under international law to do that. Do you think this is going to become a political wedge issue here?
I think it already has. Right. Nigel Farage has leapt in, Kemi Badenoch has made her position clear. So inevitably, in the world in which we live, with social media dominating the narrative at such a fast pace, anything that happens internationally becomes a domestic political issue.
Let's turn to the country itself. The Express, on its inside pages, talks about protests and celebrations, they say across the world, and they have pictures illustrating just that. It's such a huge decision to go to war on Iran and to take out the leader as well. It's going to prompt a big reaction.
Yeah, I mean, let's make no mistake, the Iranian regime is incredibly oppressive. It is brutal. There's not going to be much love lost over the fact that their supreme leader has been killed for many people. I mean, we only have to look back last month in the way that they handled the protests that they had in the country. Thousands were killed. There were horrific stories coming out about rapes that were going on of women, about making families pay to get the bodies back of those who had been killed. This is a horrific regime, so it's no wonder that people are celebrating. But really what we've got to look to is what comes next. Because it's been so oppressive, there is no viable opposition within the country. It's also been reported that his son was also killed in the strikes. You also mentioned earlier that someone else has been killed in the strikes. We're not fully sure what other leadership has been killed in the strikes that happened yesterday. So right now, we'll be unpacking that and seeing who's left, who's going to fill this power vacuum.
They do, we're told, though, have contingency plans. You know, maybe even three people deep for each significant position.
Well, the threat on Iran has been around for some time. There was their 12-day war back last summer, so lots of plans will have been made.
And what does Trump actually want? I mean, he joked, he said he was only slightly being sarcastic yesterday or last night, saying that they'll be asking him who he wants to be in charge.
But he wants people to rise up, doesn't he? That's what he's called on.
That's what he's calling for. But is that possible? And who enters that vacuum? And will it descend? Could it descend into all-out civil war? Because we know that as well as huge numbers of people who despise the evil regime, there are also millions of people who are supportive of it. And the Ayatollah was a very significant religious figure, let's not forget, as well as the leader of Iran and as well as a very, very bad man.
As Tara was saying, they have the weapons as well.
But in his speech yesterday, he's sort of created a bit of space. As you said, he's calling for them to rise up, but in doing so, he's saying, now's your time, take over your country as you see fit. But as you said, it's such a fractured country as it is that it's going to be difficult for them to rise up without a clear leader who will take on that opposition role.
And also, not totally clear the extent to which Donald Trump will stay committed to this conflict.
And that is very dependent, one thinks, on his domestic position and the fragmentation, arguably, within the MAGA group, the MAGA support base, some who voted for him precisely, or at least partly, because he was going to be the anti-war president.
Indeed.
Matthew, great to have you with us this morning.
Thanks
so
very
much.
Indeed. Thank you.
Morning to you. And stay with us. Plenty more to come in the next hour.
The best thing about being a Sky News journalist?